Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, put your feet up. It's time for the Other Three Amigos Podcast with Declan McCormack, Wayne Mullins and Dan.
Three lads, one podcast.
On this week's The Other Two Amigos Podcast, for the first time ever, we're a body down. But Gok Wayne is back. We look at our FAI Cup draw. Was there another golf classic this week? We briefly touch on the Finn Harps game. We open up the mailbag, which is dominated by Tim Clancy's comments. And we're joined by a special guest to preview Friday night's game with KFC. All that and much more on this week's The Other Two Amigos Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Other Three Amigos Podcast. It is season 4, episode 46, episode 221. We're now on Patreon, patreon.com/ToeTap will get us. You can join us there for a $5 per month, flat fee. You can join us there for €5 per month, flat fee for regular.
What is it, Declan? Say it again. Third time lucky.
Flat fee.
That's the name of the pod anyway.
That's possibly my 7th or 8th attempts, guys, depending on how the edit goes. For regular extra pods and the full back catalogue of episodes, you can check out all last week's. Check out last week's episodes. What's that about? Okay, check them out anyway. That's great. You can throw us a tenner if you want to support the pod further, but it is the same content, guys. This is important now. Retweet. It is very important to help the pod grow. We know how many followers we have on Twitter. We know how many listeners we have, and the number of retweets is a minuscule percentage of that. So if you could help us out by retweeting, even a like, that also works, but it would help a lot. We are still the proud sponsor of Jack Doherty's Boots. It's now €200 for Marymount, because we scored 1 goal this weekend and Jack did not start. So that was another tenner. There was no Last Damas this week, as there was no games in the SSE Electricity Women's Premier Division. So we took a week off, but we will be back next week to continue the Last Damas discussions.
Where's Dan?
That was what I was just getting to that. Obviously,
all
this is Declan McCormack, to those uninitiated who don't know. I am hosting this week because Dan's like on the missing list, Scott. I'm joined by Wayne Mullins, my amigo. Hola. Danny Boy's missing.
Yeah, last seen Hill 16, was it?
I think he was in one of the stands, but
he
was. Like, we've only had one communication from him since they lost the game on Sunday, and that was, "I'm taking the week off, lads." We've heard nothing else, so don't know where he is. I presume he's at the bottom of a pint glass somewhere still.
Did you watch the game?
Over things, but I did.
Did you?
I sat down and watched it. I did. Hurling's a great game to watch, but, it was a cracking game, but
I heard you.
That's it, no, because I do have the thing here, no more GAA corner. It's not happening this week.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the game this week.
Yeah.
So I think we should just pass on and move on.
So yeah, there will be no more GAA corner for those who got in touch, and some people were very emotional about the fact that we were talking about GAA in a nice way. So it won't happen again, and we do apologise. And I did warn people within ToeTap Power Towers that this would happen. So it's done and dusted, lads. Will never happen again. What else have I got? Oh yeah, just to clear a couple of things up. Last week we spoke about Donica and contacting the club and everything else. I just want to very quickly, it was the club he contacted. It wasn't the lads at the city edition of the programme. He did not contact them directly, just in case anybody thought that we were talking about city edition. It wasn't, and we weren't. And those lads do great work and have given lots and lots of people their start. So it did just point that out to us, and we are happy to put that on the record as well. Scotty,
what?
It's time for this.
Do you want your old
jersey
wash down, sunshine? Do you want your old
woolly hat
wash down? She sighs every day as she passes the way. Do you want your old
gilet
wash down?
So
Yeah.
what have we gotten in the Gok Wayne corner this
The
week?
hoodie, I've only bought the hoodie for my son, and it's after a couple of washes, it's perfect. It really is. Credit where credit's due. I'm not a fan of the design, but for kids, it's amazing. And so much so, I'd consider buying one myself. If I was going abroad, I wouldn't wear it on Cork, I wouldn't go to a match in it, but if I was going like to Germany or Denmark, places I go often, I'd buy one for the warmth, and I just think it's nice, and it's time that they got some credit for it. It's a good quality. Now, this is the kids one. I haven't tried the adults one yet. I don't know the sizes, but we got his age in his hoodie, washed it twice, 3 times, and it's still perfect. Credit where credit's due.
So are you doing a full 180 from your initial analysis?
Absolutely, and as I'm saying, I have no problem admitting if I was wrong about something. Now, as I said, the design I don't like, but I think I might go in and buy one just to see. And again, if I go over somewhere, I normally go to a lot of cold places during the kind of winter time. I'd wear it. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a shame the Rebel Army's on it. Even just the logo, just leave the logo and that's it. You could put the Rebel Army on writing on the other sleeve or on the back of the neck even or something. Not with the hoodie, but you know what I mean? You could put it somewhere on the hip even. But do you know what? The quality is fine. It really is. Might buy a t-shirt, but when I was there, I didn't like the quality, but I think it deserves a chance. But like, as you said, if the club want to throw us some free merchandise to test, this proves, I will give an honest description of it. And if you think your stuff is that of a high quality, send it to us and I will review it and I will give an honest feedback. And my honest feedback on the kids' hoodies is I would give it 9 out of 10. The only reason I'm taking a point off is just a double print on it. But look, that could be done on purpose. I don't think it is, but look, 9 out of 10. Anyone there with kids, he's 5, 6. So like any kids 7, 8, get them. Go get them.
I'm lost for words. I don't know what to say. I think
I'm just being honest.
Like, move on.
It just proves that I'm not having an agenda. Like it's
No, it does.
factual.
It does.
Yeah.
It does prove that. Okay. We'll move on. The Academy Watch. So the under-20s lost 2-0 away to Drogheda, and they do play Wexford midweek. The under-17s had no game, but they are playing Wexford on Tuesday night, which is tonight. We should have said that, I suppose, that we're recording on Tuesday night for the first time in about 2 years. We normally record on a Monday night. The under-15s lost 4-3 to Shelbourne in what seems like a cracker. And I didn't realise this. The under-14s beat Kerry 6-0. If we knew that, we could have thrown that at our guest that we haven't spoken to yet, so I'm going to have to take that out. The amputee team had no game. I'm making an executive decision now, and it's back to normal Commie Watch.
Which is the Russian one.
Yeah.
Commie Watch
with Ivan Drago
on the Other Three Amigos Podcast.
Okay, so this week in Commieland, the first thing we noticed, Scott, was, and I should have said at the start, there's only myself and Scotty here. Dan's disappeared. It's the first time in Toe Tap history it's just a 2-man pod. We do have a special guest. We do have a special guest coming later on for the second part of the pod to help us there. But for the moment, it's just the two of us, Scott. And I'm just a host, so I just get to ask the questions. So you've got to carry it all on your shoulders, you know.
Big shoulders.
There was no presser this
Maybe
week.
I'd be host for the game, just to change it up a little bit.
There was no press conference this week prior to the FAI Cup game.
Why was that?
Well, I was just going to say, it can only be two things. Either one, there's no press conference prior to FAI Cup games, and that's the way it will be for the rest of the season. Or two, Aaron Howie's gone on holidays and nobody else knew how to put the whole thing together.
So are we saying right, that when Aaron Howie goes on holidays, the club goes, the social media aspect goes to shit?
I don't know. We can only work with the evidence that we have, and that is obviously Aaron tweeted about putting his out of office on last Thursday or Friday. There was no press conference. So look, I don't know. Some people are linking.
Are you sure he's out of office? Because was it not like a tweetgate happened?
Look, I mean, things happen. People get emotional. I've no issue. You know,
I wasn't emotional, all right. I was just having a few. That's all, right.
You were stuck in the middle of it as well. I forgot about that. So yeah, look, our Last Damas account tweeted after Cork City tweeted about a unusual or a rare Saturday afternoon trip to the Cross for the cup game. The Last Damas.
But what about the women, Declan?
Yes, that's what the Toe Tap Last Damas account pointed out. Aaron came back and said, "Look, it's obvious we're talking about the men's team." My attitude to that is, if you just wrote in the tweet a rare trip to Turner's Cross on Saturday for our men's team, it's not an issue. Look,
I don't think it's an issue.
We were right. Other people thought it was.
I'm going to take the club side in this, Declan.
Well,
but I will not accept the next line that was written about. What was the line again? What was the next line? It was they were being ironic anyway.
Yeah, look. I wasn't even going to mention this. I thought so little, like it just didn't even come up on my radar, to be honest with you. You know.
No.
But look,
so yeah,
it is like it's not.
That's two positivity things about the club I've discussed.
Yeah, like I mean, you're abandoning us for the club. It just feels like you've become a club man in the last 20 minutes or so. 20 minutes.
I had more of those moments. What did we call them last week? Eureka moments.
Eureka moments. So anyway, there was no presser. We will see if we have a presser before our next FAI Cup game, Wayne.
We're not going. No, we will because it's because Howie's away on holidays. Like that's exactly we just call it. Like let's not pretend that's the reason why.
Yeah, I was thinking whenever, like, and should I? Like whenever his staff review is up or whatever else, like you should just walk into the room, just kind of dancing around, sit down, and just keep repeating the words. $1 billion, please. $1 billion.
He should just go in. He should Photoshop a check, write his own number on it, and hand it to Dermot Usher.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, right? What would we do without him? And it's scary that we can't do a press conference without him. It's actually quite scary. Like, even Totem have backups. Like, except for this week, we don't because people are otherwise engaged. We couldn't get Santa Claus on, so we kind of had to do two of us.
But yeah, so like I mean, Aaron's in a strong position. As you said, it looks like the whole club falls apart when he's not there. As I said, will we have a FAI Cup presser prior to the game against Derry City at home, Scott?
We will.
I mean,
we will.
What do we make of this?
The draw or the press conference?
No, the draw. I've moved away from the press conference.
I think we're going to lose 3 or 4 now. That's not like I saw if I was in the forum going, we'll take Derry. They're no great shakes. They lost to a pub team, which I said that was a joke, but like Derry are going to batter us, I think. You know. But look, there's no shame in it either. We're a first division team. We don't have the players to compete in the Premier Division. So if we could keep the score low, like we're not going to win the cup or go to Europe, so at least we get a big crowd. I'd say we get 3,500 on it, which would be quite decent. Give it a go anyway, and just play the way we're normally playing, and we might actually win because the clubs. This is the exact kind of team we wanted to play against, just to prove how good we are. Let's show it now. Don't be doing this defensive shite. Go and attack them and try and win the game. We won't win it, but look, give a good account of ourselves anyway.
Well, look, it's what we wanted. We wanted a home tie against a big name Premier Division team, so we've got that. I kind of disagree with you. I think we'll do 5,500 for it. I agree with you in that I don't think we can realistically win the game. I will say that I think the whole, what's it called, Bruno's Magpies or whatever they were called, from Gibraltar, I think that's a misnomer to a degree, because in 90 minutes Derry City won that home leg 2-0. You know, they got done in extra time, and they got done in Gibraltar in 7,000 degrees of heat and the rest of it. Now, I'm not excusing them losing in Gibraltar, but I do think, like, when the chips were down at home, they won the 90-minute game 2-0. People are going, they lost to the Gibraltar side, we'd be better than Gibraltar, so we could beat them. I think that's a straw man kind of misnomer argument, to be honest with you.
Absolutely not. You're just talking through your pipe there. I think like they lost the game. They lost on aggregate. They lost the game. So
they lost it. Yeah, they lost the tie. But over 90 minutes.
Forget 90 minutes. It's not. The game isn't about 90 minutes.
Well, the cup tie is about 90 minutes.
What?
The cup tie is about 90 minutes.
Might be
There's
extra
no
time.
2 legs. There's no aggregate score in the FA Cup.
That's beside. But they lost the first game 2-0
in Gibraltar in 7,000 degrees.
That's not an excuse. That's no excuse.
It's
like saying it was too wet. Like
I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying I think people are putting too much emphasis on that. I don't think
there were 4 lads drinking in a pub who created this team.
Yeah,
that's the worst result in League of Ireland European history.
It is. But they created the team in a pub 4 years or 14 years ago, is it, or whatever it was, 11 years ago. It's not a pub team now. Like, I mean, I just think that result has no bearing on anything that will happen in Turner's Cross. Like,
oh yeah, I don't think it will either. I think they'll beat us.
So yeah, we'll see. Pat Hooben will be around for Friday night. Hooben. So we'll see if we can annoy him a little bit, maybe in the build-up or something. Certainly do our best. See what happens. Scotty, yesterday, you in the K Club by any chance?
No, I wasn't in a K Club.
Did you hear anything from the K Club? Did you?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Was there a golf event? I saw a tweet last week about a golf event. The tweet was
that's
400 words long.
Wasn't it horrific?
You can tell that how he was away again for that. But anyway, look, let's not dwell on them not being prepared of how he pisses off. But anyway, I'm sure everything's grand. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Yes, I don't know. I've heard no news. It's the secret thing again. That look, hopefully 16 teams showed up this time. Yeah, but I don't want to be negative. So look,
no. Look, we know the Golf Classic was yesterday because the club tweeted asking people who were going to Dublin for the All Ireland final on Sunday if they wanted to hang around until Monday and spend €1,000 at the Golf Classic at the K Club on their way home. I think most people probably said no, to be honest with you. But who knows? Maybe they picked up a few bodies from it. And look, to be fair, there's no harm in doing it. It's just a nice graphic and a better... Anyway, it doesn't matter.
If you're going to do it right. Isn't that the old saying that I'm always throwing out there? If you're going to do it properly. If you're going to do it half-hours, just cancel the fucking thing.
Yeah. So look, it was on yesterday. There was no... Like, if you compare it to last year's, where there was loads of social media. Now, maybe it's because Aaron's away.
No, I'd say it is because Aaron's away. Let's not pretend. Yeah. Let's not pretend that our opinion is that it's because Aaron's away. Like,
but there was no output from the one in Cork Golf Club either, and Aaron wasn't away at that time. So I don't know how the club just decided not to put a social media outlet or
Do we have another Twitter account, Cork City FC Golf Events or something? Maybe. Can someone set that up, please? That'd be good crack. Boring King Coleman. This is something you'd be into.
Yeah, the old cat one disappeared again as quickly as it appeared, didn't it? Over Turner's Cross cat account.
No, it's other accounts.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. We'll move on quickly because it feels like the right thing to do. Attendances 1,300 on Saturday. What's the story? Some people were putting it down to it was All Ireland hurling weekend. We played Finn Harps the week before. Nothing really the club could do about it, etc., etc. Do you buy into that theory, Scott?
I don't really. I think I was away at the weekend, so I wasn't going. Yeah. But I think if you're a City fan, you'll go. And the reason that people aren't going isn't because it's the first division or it's rubbish football. No, there's people out there who totally disagree, which is perfectly fine. They're entitled to their opinion, as am I. I'm around here a long time, and I've seen worse attendances. I've seen higher attendances with worse football. And I personally think that not a I know this word disconnecting. People are going, no, there's no disconnect, but there is. There's no buzz around at work or in town or on a Saturday night, or people always ask you how the city get on or how our city, or it doesn't happen anymore. There's just no. It's like maybe it's because we don't have a media partner. I don't know what it is, but we seem to be just focusing on Twitter and Instagram, and there's nothing else kind of bubbling around the place. There's no hype. There's no. I just wonder, are we, as fans, we're just trying to get through the year, and I think, are the club doing the same? Saving as much money as possible, trying to get through the year, not advertising, not like the advertising hoardings around the cross, a lot of them are empty. No, I heard you talk about that when I was off the podcast, but I think it's a case of they're taking away the ones who aren't paying anymore. There could have been ones there that were there for 2 years and didn't pay a penny, and they're probably just cleaning up the area. Could be, but did it look better when it was full? They could always replace one if someone wanted to put one there. You know what I mean? I know you want to give out free advertising, but no one really knew who was paying what, and now it's kind of obvious that they're taking away ones that aren't paying or whatever. Could be wrong. They could just replace them next week and have brand new ones. But I just don't know. I just think the problem is the buzz, and there's no crack, there's no fun. It's just all negative, and yeah, we're negative. But sure, what's there to be positive about? You know?
Yeah, it's tough. As
There's
I said,
plenty can be done. There's plenty can be done. We could help. We've helped before with stuff, days for women's games, and but it's all meh, really, isn't it? And everyone's thinking by next season it'll be back to normal because we're in the Premier Division. We'll lose 4 of the first 5 games and we're back into shit again. So I just really hope the eyes are open, because there's people at that club who are around a while. Well, no, there's not really. Aina and Erica. Aaron's probably around 7 or 8 years. Aina's probably around 25 years, I'd say. Erica's probably around the same. There's not many people around a long time have seen the club going through bad times, really, is there?
Danny Murphy has, Aina has, Erica has.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it?
But that's at least 50% of the workforce, if not more. Like.
Maybe, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. Maybe, yeah. I just think I'd hope we're not going into next season with our eyes closed, completely thinking everything will be fine, because it's not going to be. If we win every game and do a Waterford, yeah, great. If we start losing games, we're back to the whole Colin Healy situation again, where the manager is under pressure and half the fan base want them out, half the fan base want them in, half Martin Short is fighting and arguing. I mean, fighting physically, but arguing.
Yeah, no, that's all very true. That is all very true. I'm going to leave the Tim Clancy questions about the what he said to the media about crazy wages, not because there's a couple of questions on that in the mailbag that I've seen, so we'll do that then. The Rory Keating stuff, I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, Scott, and I just said, this story is just not going to go away until January, February, March next year, whenever the window closes. It says here, Rory Keating update, is he coming home? ? Like, as I said, that story is just, I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's one that's going to hang around. It's obvious St. Pat's are spending a lot of money, are going to spend a lot of money. They're rebuilding that squad. I think they're going to leave a lot of players go. Rory Keating has a 3-year contract there, as far as I'm aware. So they would have to do some business Pats to move him on if that's what they wish to do. I don't know whether they do or not. He didn't start their last league game. Mason Melia started, and then he missed the cup game in Derry due to family reasons, which was what Pats put out. So, look, I don't want to speculate on any player's future as such. Like, well, I do. Well, who am I calling? But like, as I said, I just think that story is just going to run and run, but it's going to come down to Pats, I think, and what Pats want to do. Another one I mentioned at the start of the year, and somebody dropped me a line today about, was Keith Ward has left Shelbourne. At the start of the season, I said I thought he was a guy that would be worth bringing in for this year, and I thought he was in a position to step down from Premier Division football into First Division football. He somehow got a move to Shelbourne. I don't think he's played a minute for them. Maybe I missed one sub appearance where he got 5 or 10 minutes somewhere along the line, but he hasn't. He's left Shelburne today, no idea where he's going or what he's doing, but I actually don't think he'd be a viable option. Huh?
Nowhere to put him.
Yeah, I don't think he's a viable option for us anyway. As I said, heading into a first division season, I think he would have been perfect for that bit of experience and a good player at this level.
You'd have to move on Jack Doherty if you were getting him in.
Yeah, and I don't think he's a player you take back into the Premier Division next year anyway, so there's no point in bringing him in for the rest of this season. It just doesn't make any sense. Leo Gax has gone to Athlone. We'll have a chat with our guest in the second half about him. That leaves us with the cup game, which was last Saturday night, Scotty. Cork City 1, Finn Harps 0. I'm going to be honest here now. I don't want to spend a lot of time in this game because, there's just there's so little positive to say, and I just don't like.
The goal was a cracker. Let's say that. I'm going to call him magic dice skill. That was a great finish.
Am I the only one who feels like the keeper should have saved it?
Oh yeah, of course the keeper should, but you can only stop what's in front of you. It wasn't even in the corner, but it was a nice pass, nice layoff, and it was a tidy finish.
It was. No, it was a lovely goal. Well worked goal.
Delighted to see him score as well because he needs that kind of confidence. Yeah. And there is a player in there, and there is. Just need to find the right position for him. I think. I know, wing seems to be the play, but. Is the wing is on the wing the right place from? I don't know.
He popped up there in the 10, but obviously
that's the point I was making. Yeah,
he had drifted in from the wing and he wasn't followed. And to be fair, Conor Drinan lays a lovely ball off to him, which he can take in his stride and thump first time. Aaron Healy started the game. Cian Murphy started the game. Barry Coffey and Jack Doherty dropped out.
He rotates a lot. I wouldn't take any notice of that because he rotates players left, right, and centre. So I think it's just a case of my opinion.
I want to see Aaron Healy start games. I said that a couple of weeks ago. I think it's now a good opportunity to give Aaron a run of starts and a run of games and see what he can do. I don't get the leaving Jack Doherty thing out. I think we're so devoid of attacking quality and attacking anybody who can make something happen. Maybe Jack had a niggle or something, but he came on early enough, so didn't seem that way. I would question that. I'd also question Finn Harps. I mean, football is a very simple game. You go out and you try and put the ball in the back of the net as many times as you possibly can. Finn Harps could be there till now, and it's Tuesday night, 9:05, and they wouldn't. Not alone would they not have scored, they would not have had a genuine, decent attack or opportunity to score on our goal. I mean, it was just they were devoid of all want and need and desire to score. It was like they were happy to lose 1-0. I was looking at this going, it's a fucking cup game, lads. You have to score to stay in the cup. It was like they never raised a gallop, and then because they didn't raise a gallop, we didn't need to raise a gallop. So, you get into this absolute. I mean, that second half, and I'm not blaming Cork City for this, but that second half, it's just a disgrace to football anywhere in the world. There should be no half of football in the world ever played like that second half was played. And I blame Finn Harps. I genuinely do. They would have been better off if they just forfeited the game 3-0 and stayed in Donegal for the day. They'd have saved their 8 or 9 fans who travelled down the hassle of travelling down. They'd have saved the club a whack of money. FAI might have fined them. Grant, we take it on the shoulder, because that was an absolute abomination. That their effort, their willingness to win the game, their want to try and win the game, it was just, as I said, it was just a disgrace to football everywhere. I saw it under 12s. It's just there's just, I can't put into words how disturbing the whole thing was to watch.
Yeah. I won't spend too much time on it anyway because it was just pointless exercise for them, really, wasn't it?
I genuinely don't know.
Stoke game. We had Stoke game.
I'm just going to park it there because there's not a whole lot more you can say. There was no MVP because we don't do MVPs for cup games. It's the league games only, and I didn't have the heart to put out the 2 words
Yeah.
or, some film type. It was just going to be an absolute cacophony of negativity again. I was just like, you know what? We don't need it. The players don't need it. The club don't need it. And the toe tappers don't need it to read all the negativity again from their own comments. And it was just like, let's just take a week off from it and give everybody a break. So we didn't do it. As you said, the previous Wednesday night we played Stoke City. We lost the game 5-0. We went with an exceptionally strong lineup, which surprised me. Berger got the opener for Stoke. You'd Hobe got 2, Sidibe got 1, Johnson got 1. I wasn't there. No. I didn't watch it. I didn't pay to watch it on the Stoke website. The thing that made me wonder was like, why were Stoke showing it on their website, and why were they were charging for it? We have the stream in Turner's Cross. I thought it would have made financial sense for us to do it.
It's strange because I think we could have made a good bit of money out of that.
Yeah.
Surely you get 1,000 people look at it, charge a tenner, it's 10 grand.
Yeah.
Is it because we didn't have the infrastructure in place because LOI TV wouldn't have been on board? Is it, again, jokes aside, Aaron Howie away, we couldn't do it? It's a massive missed opportunity. I would have got AV Hire or someone in to do that and stream it. Charge a tenner a pop. And worst case scenario, you cover your costs. Because there's plenty of people in Stoke who go, do you know what? I'll go in and I'll... Because Stoke streamed it, so the capability was there. It's just... Unless Stoke paid us a fee of, say, 5 grand or something to do it, still, I think we could have made a lot more. And again, it just smacks of kind of like, we leave it. It's fine. And that's what worries me. That's what I said earlier, is the fans' mentality, which is, look, it's fine, it happens. Getting into the club now again as well. Could it be? I could be completely wrong, but who knows? I'm just speculating here again because we get no news from the club. We don't know what's going on. You get the leaks, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, like, who knows? So we're going to speculate.
Yeah.
I think it's a mistake.
Yeah, I thought it was strange as well. Especially as Stoke did it, and Stoke were charging £5 sterling. I don't know how many sign-ups they had, but as you said, Stoke
they've 20,000 fans a game, like, so they're going to get 1,000 people. It's the summer. People in Spain on holidays going, we can watch a Stoke game online. Let's watch it. Of course they nailed it, I'd say.
Yeah, I thought we would have got 2,000 or 3,000 Stoke fans to log on. I don't know, maybe I'm mad, but I was just surprised it wasn't streamed. We had a very strong starting lineup out as well, and Tim Clancy mentioned this in the report, or it was mentioned in the reports after the cup game, where Tim said, we had the lads out Wednesday night and we had them out again tonight, and it's tough going, and we looked a little leggy, especially second half. Well, they might play them Wednesday night. That was my question. I saw the starting team.
Unless he was at a shop window for Cahill or something like that. I don't know, but I suppose you have to respect the Stoke give us a fee. Maybe it's a case of we had to balance the books and get money in for that. I understand if it's happening, but is that then it should be Tim Clancy's choice of who he plays no matter what is agreed, Yeah.
As we said, we have no idea what.
That's getting into stories that we can't really get into because we get bloody upset people at us again.
Okay. Well, before you say something that we might regret at any time in the future, we'll leave it there. Park it there. That would be the end of the first half, guys. We'll be back for the second half with a special guest who will help us to preview the Kerry game, and we will have the mailbag and any other nonsense that pops into our head between now and then. Join us second half, guys.
Hey, toe tapper. As you know, everything is increasing in price. Extra small clothes, anger management classes, raw liver is the same price as gold. And kids' sweets used to have 20 per pack and now only have 5 in each one. And Jack Doherty is on course to score 100 goals. And he's going to bleed us dry. We need you to help the gang by joining our Patreon for exclusive pods, news and much more. For $5 a month, you can ensure that Wayne doesn't smash up his laptop, that Dan has really small clothes, Eileen is satisfied, and Declan gets lots and lots of jellies. Head to patreon.com/toe tap to support the cause.
Welcome back to part 2 of this week's The Other Three Amigos podcast. We're going to head straight into our Kerry preview. Friday night, Turner's Cross, 7:45. And to help us preview the game, we're delighted to be joined by Anthony Manning from the Kerry Men podcast, better known as Anto in the podcast world. Anto, how are things?
Not too bad now. Yeah, and most people would know me as Anto, all right. Definitely.
Yeah. No, to be fair, that's not a typical Kerry accent. It's not the hey, what about that we would expect to hear from
I'm a
Kerry
little bit
man.
more civilized, all right. No, I'm actually a dub. I'm a dub, and I got caught up in the whole Kerry FC nonsense, I suppose, if you want to call it.
Right, okay. So we have a dub representing Kerry. I can just see Cork men everywhere just ripping their hair out as we start this conversation, you know.
Sure, we have a Kerry man on the Cork City podcast, so
we don't. We have a dub representing Kerry.
No,
on
Las Damas, John O'Sullivan.
Oh yeah, John's from Kerry, living in Tipperary, talking about Cork City women. Yeah, or well, League of Ireland women's football. So okay.
Well,
I can accept that, I guess.
If it was Pa here, he'd be a Cork City fan representing Kerry FC. So
right, okay.
We give him enough stick for it.
I guess it's one of the things, Anto, that obviously Kerry FC is on the go now in 2 years. This is the second season. But there was a certain Cork City fan base in Kerry before the Kerry project kicked off. And to be honest, I'm not sure that Kerry FC has captured any of that fan base at the moment.
No, I don't think so. Like it was kind of a, say, especially it's a new thing, so people aren't going to jump on board straight away. They're going to wait until there's a little bit more, I suppose, success, if you want to call it. A few better results, which is obviously happening this season. But when you've been supporting a team, especially for 10 or 15 years, like most of these kind of Kerry fans would have, you're not really going to change colours straight away.
Is that a disappointment to you guys?
I think so. Like if a team kind of started up straight down the road and it's to represent the county that you're from, you'd expect a little bit more to turn, even just to go to the games or even just support a small bit. But it's League of Ireland, so it's kind of die hard at the same time. You pick your team and you stick with it.
Interesting. What have you guys who said there, like, results have been better this year? What have you made of your season so far, Anthony?
I think it's a successful season so far. Like, we're on 20 points now. We finished with 10 last season. Looking at that straight away, and then obviously a few extra wins, especially home wins, something that we lacked a lot of last year. And definitely better performances. We're getting blown out of the water last year by 6, 7, 8 goals. I know this year the biggest margin we've lost by is 2. That was against yourselves. So it's a positive way. Like, we're playing attacking football, we're playing nice football. When we have to, we'll play dirty football, but it's definitely on the up.
Like, obviously, well, not obviously, it's most likely that she will finish second bottom. But as you said, it feels, even from the outside looking in, as we would be doing, it feels like it feels like a massively improved season from last year, as you said. You haven't won away in the league yet. Obviously, that's a big objective before the season finishes. You'd like to win at least once away from home. Any chance you do it in Turner's Cross on Friday night?
I'd love to say yes. Look, Cork are flying. I can't take that away. I'd be more excited about getting a good result against Cork, like a good performance. If the win comes, and it's going to be unbelievable. Obviously, if you offered me the draw right now, I'd take it straight away. I think that's just anyone's common sense. You're not going to go there and be like, we can beat Cork 2-0 or 2-1. I think if we grab a goal early on, it'll be a more exciting game than not. There'll be easier fixtures away from home that hopefully we can grab another win, especially like Cove away towards the end of the season.
it's always good to jab at our near neighbours anyway,
100%.
Look, obviously, look, let's have a quick chat about Friday night. You were down there, you hadn't won away from home. I was listening to your podcast. You were very unsure about, it's a cup game. You were genuinely unsure about how the game was going to go. But I spoke to a lot of people who were in Coleman's Park on Friday night, and they were like, you blew Cove away from early on in that game, and there was only ever one winner, according to most people who were there.
I went down myself, and obviously I was unsure if I could even go. It ended up going in the end, and it was definitely the best performance of the season. I know Shucky, I suppose he'd be the interim manager while Mac is suspended. He was blown away by the performance the team had. It's the performance that we've been wanting all season. It was dominant in defense. We knew how to break the ball. We passed well. We actually had 2 disallowed offside goals as well. One was definitely questionable, but look, we'll leave it go as a win anyway. And nothing really was testing Tuta by the first 2 minutes. So it was a nice change to leave a game being like that was a handy 2-0. And I don't think anyone from Kerry FC would have thought they'd be saying that 2 years into the club.
Yeah, and I mean, as you said, he scored twice there. He scored 3 against Bray the week before.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair to you, scoring goals hasn't been a massive issue for you guys this season, really, has it?
No, we've definitely scored a lot more goals. I know, like, when we started, it took 2 games to even just get one, and that was when we lost 3-1 to Bray. But like this season, like, you just have to look at Ryan Kelleher. He's really carrying all the goals for us. He scored 11 all season, and he's gone, I think it's 7 in the last 5 games or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Especially you got a hat trick against Bray. But attacking wise, we have a lot more threats. You have Keane Brosnan, who got his first start there against Cove, and he really made it, Sean. He scored his goal. He got another assist. So,
speaking of Ryan Kelleher, obviously he had the hat trick against Bray, which was the first hat trick scored by a Kerry player in the league.
Yeah.
As I said, there was a number of Cork City fans in Coleman's Park last week, and they all came out of it very, very impressed with Ryan. I know your pod, you speculated that, in your opinion, he could easily play for a lower Premier Division side. I actually said on our forum during the week that I didn't think he could. So I'm going to kind of disagree with you guys there. But I believe he's contracted to you guys for next season. He may well finish the season as top scorer in the league.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances that you hold on to him and that you have him in Mount Hawk Park next year?
We'd love to have him. He's contracted till next year, all right, 2025. So hopefully now he stays for another year, and it's not kind of like another Leo situation. I think he could get a move. There's always people looking for strikers, and he's kind of shown that he is a goal scorer. Even in the first season, he was only feeding off scraps, and he was banging them in at the same time. Well, he scored the majority of our goals himself and Leo Gaxa. But this season, it's proven the kind of same. He's getting a few more chances during the game, but he's finishing the ones that matter as well.
And what convinces you, Anthony, that he could play Premier Division football, that he could play at a higher level?
I think already just the improvement that he has in our team, which is obviously second bottom, he can come short for the ball, he can go in behind, he has a bit of pace about him. He's not afraid to get stuck into the centre backs either. He's strong, and he's young as well, and he has that left, right, and his head. He has it kind of all in how to finish. It's just getting him the chances is really, I suppose, our issue more than his. I'm sure if there's someone behind him that could feed him the ball a little bit better, he would be on 20 or 30.
No small numbers for you, Kerry boys.
Nah, no small numbers at all.
Yeah, because I guess the thing that made me say that I didn't think he could make the step up is, obviously you have the Franz Perot situation last year, where he scored all those goals for Athlone and hasn't kicked the ball in anger for Drogheda. And I was very much in the Perot won't do at a Premier Division level camp, and I was like, there wasn't that many of us out there. Everybody thought he'd go up and score goals. And I guess the 2 games we've played against you this year, Ryan didn't really show in either of those games, and that's kind of what makes me wonder when he's playing against the best the best defense in the division, he wasn't able to make a real impact. I guess you're going to tell me I'm being extremely harsh on him by just taking those 2 games and taking
always,
that viewpoint. Yeah, I am very harsh on players. I will admit that I am very, very harsh on players.
But that's a fair point as well. I know the first game we played, he was injured. He was coming back off an injury, so I think he only played 40 minutes in that match, the first game of the season. And I wasn't actually at the one in Mount Hawk Park for obvious reasons. But yeah, no, look, he mightn't have done it against, say, yourselves this year. He was scoring against Galway last year, and Galway were also a tight knit defence. And that was off even less than what he could have now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the score sheet now on Friday night. All right, though.
Another player who shut Decky up in rapid time.
A long line, Decky, a long line.
I hope so.
Listen, you just mentioned Mount Hawk Park there and that whole situation with the Cork City game that night, and you guys boycotted, and that's actually how I started listening to your pod, because I wanted to hear what your reaction was to that whole situation.
Yeah.
You've drawn Bows in the Cup today, Anthony. Do you see that situation arising again for that Bows Cup game, and maybe for the second visit to Cork City later on in the season?
I don't think they'll do the same ticket allocation for Bows as they did for Yee. I think they have a small bit more, I wouldn't say common sense, but I suppose common sense might be the term. But I think it will be higher security spec, and if we are moved, which I'm pretty sure we will be, which isn't a problem, I know they'll let us know ahead of time, and we can just move, and that'll be fine. It was kind of more the issue that we weren't told beforehand, and it was just a done thing. Obviously, there's 20 or 30 of us that all kind of stand in that one section. So, but look, we hashed that out with the club, and we got over it, and all that kind of crack. So it's we're working a lot more closely with them now. So it's I think it'll be fine. Obviously, Bows is going to be a big game, but we'll see how it goes.
It must be amazing that the club was willing to actually sit down and listen to your grievances and take on board what you were saying, and do all those things. They haven't banned you or told you, conduct yourselves from the footpaths outside or anything, no?
Well, to be fair, I'd say there's a few with pitchforks for me anyway, but I did my time. Yeah. All
good men do their time, Anthony.
Exactly. Don't worry.
So just for people who don't know the background, I guess I should mention it, that you guys stand in the North Terrace, which was allocated to Cork City for that game. Yeah. So you guys boycotted the Cork City game, and there was a bit of back and forth with the club, but as you said, it was sorted out, and
it's sorted now. It's they're happy enough to leave us there. There's no more kind of comments from either side. So it's good. It's a good way to have it.
Absolutely. So what can we expect from you guys on Friday? So Turner's Cross, big game. Yeah. Are you bringing a fans bus, or is there anything organised?
I don't think there is anything organised, but it's close enough that I'm pretty sure a lot will travel. There seems to be a lot of talk in the group chat about people going down, so that's obviously good. And plus, it's a Friday as well, so you can't. You're not missing work on the Saturday. I'm unfortunately working, so I am missing this game now. So it's a bit sickening, but I'm sure some of the boys will make up for my lack of voice up there.
So they'll be in the corner flag pre-game anyway, making themselves heard.
Yeah, we thoroughly enjoy there anyway.
Yeah, the night of the Munster Senior Cup, he took the place over, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we're definitely in there a lot. There's a few boys that stayed in there too, so it wasn't too bad.
The viewing platform is it's a decent spot, to be fair. Talk to me about what we can expect on the pitch. Obviously, you're not really struggling to score goals. I guess, you were 2-0 up against Bray, gave it away again, back to 2-1. It seems to be the most consistent thing about your season is that you give away an awful lot of leads, Anthony. Is there anything you can put your finger on as to why Kerry have been doing that this year?
I think it's a lack of experience leading these games, especially how early it is. I say we were up 2-0 in 15 minutes or whatever it was, 20 minutes, and then within 4 it was 2-2. Now I think they had flashbacks of the last time we were 2-0 up against Bray as well and lost 3-2. So it was probably one of those. I don't know. I think seeing out the games now is kind of top priority. Like even when we got a last minute equaliser against Wexford just before the Bray game, you're looking at it a little bit better, but I don't know if it's probably a lack of experience. Really, is still just killing us a small bit, and it's kind of these stupid corners and which we were complaining about a lot last year, and just little mistakes as well that hopefully they'll be ironed out now soon enough.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stupid stats I keep here, and only 4 teams in the division have scored the first goal more often than you have.
Yeah.
You've scored first in 11 games, but you've only won 4 of those games, which is a massively poor return, especially in a league where if you score first in the first division, just over 75% of games are won by the team who scores first. So to only win 4, having scored first in 11, is a pretty poor return, to be honest.
Yeah, it is, and we all see it, and I know the players that we talk to know it as well. They're kind of they're well aware that they're losing a lot of leads and they don't want to keep doing it, but it's happening, and that's kind of the issue. I'm sure Mac and Shucky are tearing their hair out now every time we go up by a goal straight away, and just hoping we can score another. Well, I suppose 2 now. We'll need a 3-0 head start to keep them most of the time.
Is there funding there, Anthony? Is there an ability there maybe to bring in experienced players to help out next year? Because when we go up next year and say, look, if it's Drogheda that come down, it becomes a fully part-time league. It becomes a very open league all of a sudden, and there is an ability there for teams maybe like yourselves and Treaty to maybe go and do something to at least guarantee playoff football. Is there funding and is there an ability there to maybe add those 3 or 4 experienced players that might allow you to do that?
Yeah, I think there is. Like obviously they've just gone part-time this year, so they're trying to keep the books a little bit tighter this year, which is fair. Just because it is the first year they're doing it. I know they're definitely looking at a few players and looking to try and bring in a couple of experienced players, but at the same time, they have a model that they want to keep. That they do have a trust in that academy. There's a good shot of young players coming through that as well, and effectively, if you take out Antonio Tuta from the squad, I think it's an under-23 squad. So
yeah,
that's kind of the way it's going at the moment. Anyway, I'm sure there'll be a couple of more experienced boys brought in.
Have you got any look at Oran Crowe since he joined from ourselves?
Yeah, since he came on against Bray and he looked all right. We only got 10 minutes of him or so. But against Cove, he came on very early. Andy Spain picked up a knock in the warm-up. So they threw Darren McCarthy back into centre-back. And Oran pretty much dominated that kind of 6 to 8 role that they were playing him in. And he's very good, very energetic, liked to press the ball, broke a lot of challenges as well. So it was a good signing. It's nice to see.
Yeah, I think the feeling here, Scott, would be that, Oran would be a player who, if he got regular minutes in the first division, could be a very, very good first division midfielder. He's not going to get him with us, and he obviously wanted game time. But I think the feeling is that he could be a very, very good first division midfielder, especially for a side like Kerry next year.
Absolutely. Like, he couldn't get into our team because our midfield is probably the strongest area for a team. And there's a reason why we signed him for a second time. And he always had the potential, but it's good to see him not go to a lower league team, as in, a lower division in district league or something. He's gone to Kerry, so hopefully he does well. And that's part of actually a question I have. Like, where do you see the future of Kerry? Like, do you see them like there's a hierarchy now in Munster, really? It'd be Cork City, Waterford, 3D, Cove, and yourselves. Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be?
I think for the first couple of seasons, say, just establish ourselves a little bit more into the league, slowly build our way up the table. Obviously, in a few years' time, I'd like us definitely to be battling for promotions every year and that kind of way, like into the playoffs. And I think we made a joke last year that we wanted to be in the Champions League there in 7 years' time, but we're only 4 games away from that now in the FAI Cup. We can get Europe next year.
Do you think you've got a big fan base there eventually? Do you think people will buy into it, or do you think you're kind of going to be in around the kind of lower attendances?
I think at the moment we're going to be lower attendances. The big games will draw bigger crowds. So games against like the likes of yourselves, and obviously we drew Bows, so that game's going to be a sellout as well. It's only 1,200 that can fit up in Mount Hawk Park.
Yeah.
So attendances are definitely down from last year, but I think that kind of just took away a few corporate tickets, the ones that were given out to businesses and a few people that just bought it for the sake of buying it. So now it's just people that actually want to go and watch the game and support the club. And I think that will grow over time once results start coming in and we finish a little bit higher up in the table and, performances start increasing and we get a couple of bigger scalps on our board and, things like that now.
Can I just ask you from an outside looking in, because I'm fascinated. You guys are second bottom, but you're absolutely delighted. You say you're playing well. Results are better than last year. You've already doubled the points tally from last year. We're 15 points clear at the top of the division. We're absolutely losing our shit over the way we play and, the way the club has been run and everything else. They're polar opposites. And it's just like, what do you make of the division this year in comparison to last year? Because obviously you guys were there last year. And can you compare what you've seen from Cork City with what you saw from Galway and Waterford United last season?
I think it's a lot closer in the division this year. I think is it the quality of every team's gone up or has it gone down that kind of way? It's just a lot tighter. Everyone's kind of beating everyone by yourselves. You're happy out at the top, but Galway and Waterford were blowing teams out of the water last year. There were 6-0s, there was 9-1s. They're on the receiving end of those, and there doesn't seem to be many of those results coming into this division at the moment. Obviously still a good shot of games left to make me eat my words, but I just think it's gotten a lot tighter. I think a few clubs made some good signings and brought a couple of decent youth players through, and it's gone a little bit tighter in the league, and that's why you're not running away with it. Well, you're running away with it, but not as dominantly as you'd want to, especially being such a big club down there.
Yeah, and just to pick up on the last question I asked, last season, based on what you saw, do you think that Galway and Waterford sides from last season were better sides than this Cork City side this season?
I see, Waterford had Ronan Coughlin, who was just a freak of nature.
Yeah.
And Galway were just full of absolute brutes. I think you'd have a good game against them all. I'd say they're marginally better than what Cork City is at the moment. Just based on the kind of results they were pulling out and how dominant they were in the whole league last year. It was just anytime you saw Galway or Waterford coming down or playing anywhere, you pretty much knew it was odds on that they were going to win, barred a couple of shock results.
Interesting. I think you're somewhat generous to us there, but we'll take it and accept it, thankfully, gracefully.
Exactly.
last one I want to ask you about, we leave you go, Anthony.
No bother.
I know you guys are very disappointed to lose Leo Gaxa last year. He was
Yeah.
a player that I mentioned at the start of this window that I would have liked to seen Cork City make a move for, even if it was just a 6-month loan where we could have played him regularly, gave him those minutes, and allowed Tim Clancy to decide whether he reckoned he could have done a job for him next year in the Premier Division or not. Firstly, can I just ask you, were you surprised that it was Galway he ended up at? Because the style of play and the way John Caulfield sets it just seemed like such an un-Leo Gaxa type team to actually go and join. And by the same token then, are you as much surprised that it's actually at loan that he has now ended up at?
I think we're all kind of surprised it was Galway. We weren't surprised he got the move. We thought it'd be a Premier Division side that he was going to, if he was going to leave. He definitely has that potential in him. He's tricky on the ball. He's strong. He's agile. Galway was kind of a little bit of a, all right, fair enough. So you just presume John Caulfield knew what he was going doing, but obviously it didn't work out. He didn't get it many minutes. And going to Athlone are flying. They do play that kind of high attacking, high counter attacking kind of football, so which definitely suit them. A little bit faster paced, and they're in the playoffs. So I think it's a good move for him as long as he gets minutes. The main thing for him is he needs minutes, and he'll show everyone what he can do again.
Yeah, but isn't the downside for him in going to Athlone, and they've paid a fee for him, so I presume he's probably signed an 18-month contract at least. Is that in all likelihood he's committing himself to the first division for next season as well?
Yeah. Look, we're all big fans of Leo down here, and I think everyone's just happy to see him get a move rather than rot on the bench of a club that clearly didn't want him, and it was maybe even just a power trip move that John Caulfield wanted to use, that will just sign whoever. As for him getting an 18-month contract at Athlone, that's fair enough as long as he's playing for them. I don't really mind. I would have loved to see him back in a green jersey at Kerry, but I think we all knew deep down it wasn't probably going to happen in the end.
He's definitely one I would have definitely been interested in taking a look at. I know I said the last question was the last one. This is definitely the last one. I just want to touch on what happened at the start of the season and maybe figure out how it affected you guys. And obviously I'm talking about Brian Ainscough pulling his money out, leaving the club. Do you get the feeling that there was ever a moment in time where KFC was in danger of folding or anything like that?
I think when it was announced straight away, I think everyone had at the start just kind of this dread that that's it, one season and we're gone. Thankfully the lads like Billy and just kind of put the nail to the head and just went, no, the club's still here. There's enough backing in the background. Stephen Conway especially was very vocal on how the club's fine and it's going to be running, and thankfully it is. I don't know. Look, Brian was obviously a big factor in kind of getting the club up and running in the first place. So I think everyone has a small soft spot for him, but I don't think anyone's really missing him now and his antics on and off the pitch. So it's not too bad. There was a small bit of dread, but I think it was within 2 hours. The lads had already posted that the club's fine and season tickets will be on sale and everything else was sorted.
You said there, Anthony, that there was like maybe even still a little bit of a graw or soft spot is the word you used for Brian Ainscough because he was involved in setting up the club in the first place. I mean, it's my opinion, and obviously I'm entitled to an opinion, so I just want to express the opinion.
Yeah.
And it's just an opinion. It's not a matter of fact. It's just an opinion.
Is that for solicitors, Decky?
That like I've said this before, in my opinion, it was one of the most scurrilous acts I've seen in football in my time following the League of Ireland.
Yeah.
To pull out the way he did. And again, that's just an opinion that I hold.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think everyone can kind of back you on that one. You started a club and you stepped away straight away saying, I'm going to go to Dundalk and hopefully, and this is more of what I want. It has better aspirations and stuff, especially after he had just done the award ceremony with Kerry FC and had said, all these plans to move the club forward. But yeah, look, I suppose everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm sure there's plenty that dislike him down here. There's plenty that kind of sort of like them, and there's plenty like me that is better off if I don't voice my opinion too loudly.
Please do. Although we have a solicitor on speed dial these days, so
just for balance and legal reasons, I'm going to say I like him. I think he did a great move, great job, and fair play to him. That's just for balancing and legal reasons.
Well, to be fair, we get good enjoyment out of just kind of watching how Dundalk kind of fell off when he joined, and we kind of started playing better.
Great,
so it's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, there would be no love for Dundalk and Cork anyway. But I mean, if the ultimate irony was to happen and Dundalk were relegated, Anthony,
we'd love
would Brian Ain's Coffee welcome in Mount Park next year?
No, I think we already have the flags ready to go. His infamous tweet. I think we have them already ready to go. So I think it would be a more hostile atmosphere than when he was there first and everyone was shaking hands and being like, "Oh, how's it going, Brian?" Yeah, few more choice words, I'm sure. He can't buy us with pints this time anyway.
Jeez, you're good at this podcast business, Anto. I tell you, you're good at this.
I'm getting decent, all right. I think we're on, 60 episodes or so of our own one, so we're getting there at the moment.
Yeah, do you just want to tell our listeners what the Kerry Men podcast is about, and you might pick up a few extra listeners for those who do the LOI podcast circuit,
Yeah, it's I suppose it's a very niche podcast. It's specifically just about Kerry FC and the goings on in the club. We have access to the players and a few of the higher up staff. I know. I was giving you a dig there. It's actually nice. It's lovely.
Don't worry, we copped it. We copped it. Don't worry.
The boys interact well with us. They give us their opinion. They always come over towards us towards the end of the game and stuff, and kind of give us a little chat. It wouldn't be anything after the game, but sometimes we get them in all right for an interview towards the mid part or end of the season. So hopefully we'll have a few of them on now in a couple of weeks' time.
Very good. Like as I said, I'm a regular listener since we went down to your place for the first game, and the one thing I've found about it is that, like us, you're not afraid to say what's on your mind and kind of let the cards fall where they will after that. Then
yeah,
I always admire.
It's a fans podcast. We're fans of the club. We're not directly involved with the club at all, so we say what we think. If we don't like a player, we'll definitely say it. If we like the way things are being played, we like it. Obviously, we got a little bit heated before, but look, we're getting better at checking ourselves as well, and I'm getting better at editing too. So it's
right. Before we let you go, so Anthony, give us a prediction for Friday night, and maybe give the toe tappers maybe 2 or 3 Kerry players that you should keep an eye out for.
No problem. I'm gonna go with normally if this was on our podcast now, I'd be saying like 3-0 Kerry, which is I think unrealistic at this time. So I'm gonna go for a 1-1. I think you'll score first, and we might get a late equaliser. Hopefully Ryan Kelleher. I think the few players you do have to look out for though is Sean O'Connell at left back. He's phenomenal. I think we'd be lucky to keep a hold of him. Sean McGrath in centre attacking mid sits right behind Ryan. He does a lot of work off the ball. He doesn't really get as much credit as people should give him. And Ronan Tehan would be another one in centre midfield. He's only young, just did his leaving cert last year, and I think the world is his oyster. He was on trials during the summer, so he could be gone off to England now soon enough.
Gary Hunt has been on to us. Every week he contacts us. He wants to know whether he's under pressure or not. So we're going to give it to you this week. Having lost 2-0 to Kerry last weekend, is Gary Hunt, Cove Ramblers manager, under pressure?
I'll keep them on as long as we can play them every week.
That's a dig.
That would be a dig.
Scotty, answer the question. So is Gary Hunt under pressure?
I think he has to be. It's 2 in a row now, like.
Yeah, this week he's definitely. Like, it's only 2 weeks ago I had him in Manager of the Year category. He was squeezing into the playoffs.
I had next Cork City Manager 2 weeks ago, remember?
Yeah. Now he's under pressure again. Such is the life
I'll
of
put him as Manager of the Year.
Yeah, such is a League of Ireland First Division manager's life. Listen, Anthony, thanks a million for your time. Really appreciate it.
Cheers. Lads.
I would wish you, in general, I wish Kerry the very best of luck, because we need to add clubs and yourselves and the likes of Mayo are welcome additions to the league. Obviously, I hope you get battered to fuck up the Jesus on Friday night, you know.
I don't think that one will happen anyway. But I'm sure you can clip that now if the result goes the wrong way.
We won't fall out over it anyway.
No.
All right, listen.
Thanks,
Anthony. Appreciate it. But
sound.
Listen, just want to say thanks again to Anthony for joining us. The Kerrymen podcast is a good listen, guys. I will say that. It does have a touch of toe tap about it, as I said, where it's just very much we say what's on our mind, although he did say they're getting better at writing things in. So maybe Scotty, maybe you should listen and learn how to rein things in every now and again. You know?
Maybe I should, yeah. But then sure, where's the fun in that?
We'll head for the mailbag.
Postman pattern in black and white cat. The cat makes race. Early in the morning, one bag of man is yawning. Him pick up all of the post bag in him hand. A real bad man. Postman pattern, him mix up cat. Him team light skin. All of the bird them singing, but partner fool him a roll with the big thing. Just in case them try to rob him.
Here we go.
Okay, interesting mailbag this week. Lots of kind of repeated stuff, as I mentioned, around
What's King Coleman's question? Let's get to the business end of it.
You want to start with King Coleman?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay. Warren King Coleman says, I was going to leave this to later on to lighten the mood a small bit after some of the heavy stuff, but
yeah,
I'm doing what Wayne wants to do. I feel like I'm getting to know Decky so well, I could stand under his umbrella on the footpad outside the cross. Everyone is out of the house, and you're going to buy 3 things from Tesco to watch your favourite film in the sitting room.
Ooh.
What's your 3 things and the film? No, just before you answer, can I just say, if anybody wants to go into our social media and read the comments under King Coleman's tweet, you're more than welcome to, but I ain't getting into a discussion about hand cream and baby wipes on this podcast, right?
Oh, jeez.
3 things, Scotty.
Vodka, Coke Zero, and salt and vinegar peanuts. Peanuts.
And what's the film?
Jeez. Do you know I might go for the Back to the Future trilogy?
That's 3 films. Sorry, no, for being a sticker. Part 2. Back to the Future, Part 2. Okay, I'm going to say a box of
tissues.
Pringles. Sour cream and onion Pringles. A packet of strawberry bonbons. And a bottle of Pepsi Max.
Nice.
And the film, I think we were asked this before, and I said Casino. And a Casino's a classic, but I think this week is Robin Williams' anniversary. There's been a lot of stuff on social media about Robin Williams, so that's kind of takes you back to, obviously, Good Will Hunting was an absolute classic, but I think this week, in the next few weeks, it would be Dead Poets Society.
Jeez, he chose the wrong one, like.
Well, you would
Good
want
Morning
to be
Vietnam, surely, like.
Yeah, like another classic. No, Dead Poets Society, like, is,
Yeah.
I went to the woods because I wanted to live deliberately. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life.
Sorry, what's
to roach all that was not life and not when I had come to die, discovered that I had not lived. I mean, it's powerful stuff, in my humble opinion. No, haven't done all that. We'll get into the
Right.
good stuff.
Ooh.
Tim Clancy, speaking to the media, spoke about wage inflation in the Premier Division, which is something I've mentioned the word wage inflation regularly over the last 6 months. I think it was clear what was happening and it was coming. I will say that I think when Tim Clancy spoke about €2,500, €3,000 wage packets, I think a lot of people read what he said and took it that that's a common thing. I don't think it is at all. To be honest with you, I think he gave the outliers. There's probably a couple of lads at Rovers and that kind of money. He mentioned a club who won't qualify for Europe paying that money. I surmise at a guess that maybe he's talking about Galway and what they're giving Greg Cunningham to come home. But I mean, he played championship level football last year, you know.
You imagine talking about Pats.
Pats are obviously Ebesladi, whatever his name is. I can never pronounce his name. I apologise to him. He won't be listening anyway. Pats are paying that kind of money, good money, but I don't think it's rife across the division. I think he used the extreme outliers to make his point. Yes, wage inflation has gone up. There's no doubt about that. Shelbourne are another club who are now paying good money, but I think for most players, and I'm guessing here, I'm going to say somewhere around 1,300-1,500 quid a week for a good player is probably what I'm hoping that's what you'll be looking at. But I've always said that players are entitled to earn whatever they can earn, and it's up to the clubs to pay them or not pay them. And I will never criticise players for earning as much as they can. Their careers are short and they fully deserve to do that. So whatever they're getting paid, they're getting paid. The thing is, and the questions start, so I'll run through a few of them here, Scott, and we might deal with the whole lot then together. Judging by Clancy's comments in the papers, are we pretty screwed next year, or do you think we'll spend smart enough? Aaron Hill says still no signing. Richie, Tim's presser, he discussed player wages being out of control in the Prem and indicated that players won't come here now for 6 months on First Division wages and hope to get Prem wages next year. Obviously, they've tried and can't get anyone. Discuss, please. Is Clancy making excuses for the shocking transfer window so far by blaming the inflation of wages in the Premier Division? I believe he's partly right, but maybe Usher needs to dig into the pockets to make that investment and pay that premium, or else we'll end up as a yo-yo team. What's your feeling, Scott?
Yes, players are getting paid, but I still think a good coach can get cheaper players playing well. Like, I know we're talking 10, 15 years ago. Tommy Dunn did it when he came back into the top division. He had these really bad players and got us mid-table. It wasn't great, but it was mid-table. Caulfield did it. Stephen Kenny at Dundalk first season had all these players, these misfits, playing for them. Gartland come from Bray Wanderers, that kind of stuff. I know we're Cork, we're not based in Dublin. I get that, but there's plenty of players. If you have a proper scouting system, there's plenty of players. I think in Scandinavia, in places like Romania, Greece, Turkey, who come over, who are misfits there, who come over for one season and just try it out. Same way Kustovic did it, same way Krezic did it, same way Vimbo did it. I'm sure there's players out there who will come over for 800-900 $1,000 a week, which is what you're going to be paying minimum, just to see what the story is. Like $1,000 a week is still a lot of money to people. And a footballer who's playing in Scandinavia, like Sweden, Denmark, Finland, or in Southeastern Europe, who's probably not making that much, is surely willing to come over here for 1 year, stay with lads in a house, and earn a decent wage, which is probably more than the average person will make in their countries as well. Maybe not Scandinavia, but you're looking at Eastern Europe, you're looking at Southeastern Europe. I don't see why, and we've the tools there to do it. Now, I know you don't want to be getting too many of them in, but you can mix them with some decent First Division players who we have, get some older, experienced players like Greg Balder we got this season. We could do it next season, get more players in. I just think it's excuses. It's too early for those excuses. Have your work done now for next season. Have your work this season done at the start of the season. It's the same rubbish over and over again.
Like, what worried me most was, and I'm sure it's a throwaway comment from Tim, But when I hear anybody connected to Cork City using the phrase "we can't compete" in any way, that worries me a lot, because
Absolutely.
we should be able to compete. One of the reasons we sold the club was because everybody knew Forest couldn't compete. And the reason for selling was that Dermot Usher would allow us to compete. Now, to be fair to Dermot, he said at the Forest meeting, I will not be going head-to-head budget-wise with Derry City and Shamrock Rovers. And everybody kind of went, that's fair enough. But
Sorry,
everybody else...
Also said we'd be challenging for Europe.
Yeah.
Didn't happen the first time. Do it the
everybody
second time.
Everybody else was fair game.
If you're going to go to the pot, piss in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Everybody else was fair game. So... like Tim says, we can't compete. I disagree with him. We can compete.
Yeah.
It's more that we won't compete, I think, at the moment anyway. That's what it feels like to me. The owner's a man of means. If he wanted to compete for those Irish players, and as I said, I don't think those 2,500, 3,000, there's a few players at Shamrock Rovers hitting those numbers. There's a few, but it's not representative, I don't think, of what's going on across the majority of the league. I think as I said already, you're down at lower numbers than that, 1,500, 1,200, whatever. I'm having an educated guess there, but I think we can compete. It's just up to the club whether they want to compete in those markets. And look, there's people saying they shouldn't, but if you don't, again, you're starting on the back foot, and it's not my money, so I don't care. It's not like Forest when we were all invested in, we can't do this and we can't do that because we break the club. No, I don't care. I just want the club to spend the money necessary to make us competitive. And by competitive, I mean competitive so that we finish 8th in the Premier Division next year. I have no other expectations, but that is what I would be looking for anyway. And I really don't want to hear about we can't compete with this or we can't compete with that. Scott, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I know we disagree on the player, but Kevin Kustovic is a free agent. He left Kopar in Slovenia. Whatever people, I personally thought he was one of our best players last season. We're crying out for a right back, left back possibly. He could play central defensive midfield too. Is these one of these players that you pay between 1,000 and 1,500? Because let's face it, right? Next season we will not be able to pay. We'd be paying way more than 600, 700, 800 quid. You're going to have to be paying players €1,000 a week. You're going to have to. It's simple as that. We don't expect €3,000 a week players. We don't want them. We don't expect 2,500, $2,000. But you get players between 1,000 and 1,500. Do you think, he's a free agent, no fee, get him in, 18-month contract, give him a decent wage, that he could live in Cork and maybe rent out his own gaff in Cork? Players are there.
Look, we have this, as we were told, as the owner spoke about, we have this Fandangled app, which is the greatest transfer app of all time. So I presume that's being used, and
we have the
means. Agents and players and everything else are being contacted. So I would say to people again, as I said last week, let's just stay calm and see what happens. But as I said, the whole "we can't compete" mantra will never sit comfortably on my shoulders anyway.
It's not acceptable, is it really?
Believe that's Cork's. Huh?
It's not acceptable to say that, I don't think.
No, but to be fair, I'm not having a go at Tim for that, because I think it's just whatever words came out of his mouth, and he meant we can't compete with these wages. I think, as I said, they're the massive outliers, and I've made the point twice already, so I won't make it again. Gary Buckley was in Turner's Cross on Saturday. That got a few tongues wagging. I didn't say on the podcast, but I did say on the forum, must be 3 weeks ago now, that to my mind, and I want to emphasize this, I have no inside information on this or anything else. Gary Buckley is the most obvious Cork City signing of all time for next season. I don't see anything else other than Gary Buckley in a Cork City shirt next season.
The thing is, the way you look at it is, we should have to pick of Munster. We really should. Kerry, Waterford, Limerick, Clare, Tipperary. We should have to pick. Is he in the top 10 Munster-based players that we could get? I would say yes. That's the way you look at it. That's the logic of the way you look at it. You find the holes and you plug them. You don't buy 3 of the same players because they're from the area, but you look for these players in Munster first. If they're there, you get them. If they're not there, you got to move away. It's probably cheaper to get the guys in from abroad than it is from Dublin, I would say.
Look, I'm not going to comment on Gary Buckley's playing ability because I haven't seen him this year. He missed the first half of the season through injury. He's only just come back into the Galway side in the last 3 weeks or so. As I said, it's just from my point of view, I think it's the most obvious signing of all time. We were strongly linked with Shane Griffin last year if we had stayed up. We didn't. He stayed at Shelbourne. I think if he doesn't retire, Shane Griffin's not getting any minutes at Shelbourne this year. I think he's another very logical type of signing. He can play centre back. He can play left back, obviously. He has that variety to his game. No, whether like Gary Buckley left in, was it 2019 Gary Buckley left us, Scott, or was it 2018? I can't remember now. Obviously he was part of the double winning side in 2017, but that'll be 8 years ago by the time the 2025 season kicks off, or it'll be 7.5 years ago. Lots of things change in 7.5 years, you know. But as I said, Gary Buckley, Shane Griffin, Rory Keaton, Sean Maguire are 4 names I would certainly be keeping an eye on.
Sean Maguire, you're hitting the higher echelons of the wages, though, aren't you? You're hitting the $3,000 that you're not talking. You don't want to use.
I'd imagine you look possibly. Who knows? But
if you've Rory Keaton, do you need Sean Maguire? I don't think so.
If you the two of them playing off each other,
would you play that formation? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You know, look, there's lots of ifs, buts, and maybes, and
which one would you prefer?
Oh, that's a hard question because Shawnee hasn't scored goals since he went to England. But Sean Maguire, in that 6 months, that first half of that season in 2017, that's the best.
7.5 years ago.
Yeah, and that's the thing, but that is the best 6 months I have seen any League of Ireland player have in the 30 odd years I'm following League of Ireland. What did he score? 26 goals, was it, or something? It was just phenomenal. And you know that's not the Shawnee you're getting back. It's impossible.
Agreed. But if you get the players around him that suit his, you can see what his game play is now. If you get the players around to suit him, it could work. Same with Keating. You need the players around him.
Oh, absolutely.
The right players.
Absolutely.
If you there's no point in getting Keating and Maguire in if you're going to have shit around him. You need players to make runs and, you know.
But the other side of it is, and it's the biggest, most classic Cork City thing. We're only talking about players, Gary Buckley, Sean Maguire, Rory Keaton, Shane, who've all played for Cork City before. There's a world of players out there who don't even know what Cork City is.
You need a base. You need a base. You need to go with ex-players and Munster players first. If you can't fill the gaps, you go wider. You don't go wider first. You see what you can find here first. There was someone on the pod recently who mentioned the Cork tax, that you get paid less because you're in the area and you should be proud to play for Cork City or work for Cork City. It's there. It is true. So we should get these players in first, plug the holes, and if you've got a centre midfield, centre defender, left back, striker, you then go further afield, and that's what we should be doing. I hope we're doing it, and not just sitting back on we can't afford them. But bullshit.
I don't know. I have this thing about never go back, and it's something we do continually. It's just sign former players. I'd love to break that trend, but look, probably you're going to see a few back. I would imagine anyway. Right, we'll park that there.
Yeah.
Scotty, one for you.
Right, Love Island's on, by the way.
Scotty. Sorry.
Love Island's on. Anyway.
All right, I won't keep you much longer. If Shamrock Rovers got into the Champions League and paid the 1 million for Cahill, would you be happy to let him go there? If not, what is the minimum level you'd like Cahill to go to after City?
I'd absolutely snap their hand off, because whatever way we look at it, we're a feeder team now. We're not at the levels of Shamrock Rovers. So if they offer 1 million tomorrow, I'd absolutely take it. But I'm thinking Forest way, because I know it would be invested back in the club. What happens to this 1 million is what, so would I take? Yeah, I would absolutely would, because it's the only option we have to invest this back into the squad. So I take it, and it would be hard to take, but we're nowhere near Shamrock Rovers level now, so there's no point even worrying about. They're not rivals anymore. They're way above us.
Okay. A follow-up question, so on the same subject. When Cahill goes for big money, what should be the first investment the club make?
If the money was all put into the club, I'd throw half it in the playing side, and I'd throw half it into the youth side. I wouldn't buy anything like land and stuff. We're not there yet. We need to be qualifying for Europe to be looking for training grounds and stuff like that, and money constantly coming in. There's no point in spending money on land and halfway through the money runs out and we're stuck with nothing again. You need to buy success now. And the way to do that is to put half it into players and half it into the youth structure for those players. Because I said we've two types of players in the youth. Ones you want to play for Cork City and ones you want to sell on for profit. We need to increase the ones that sell for profit.
People are aware, and you are aware, that we're not getting £1 million for Cahill. So you know that.
Oh, I know, but we should be aiming for it.
Yeah.
Don't need to tell people that, but we can just pretend we can just keep.
I just wanted to make sure because, it's not happening. But anyway, more questions. How massive is this cup game for the buzz around the season? And also showing where we are considering next season.
You answer this one.
I think it's massive for the buzz around the season. I think we needed a big game to re-energize the fan base. As I said earlier, I think we'll get 5,000 for it. I hope we get 5,000 for it. Somebody asked, will it sell out? I don't think there's a hope in hell that it will. Mark says, will Derry be a sellout? I don't think so. Absolutely no chance. But I do hope we get about 5,500 for it. And also showing where we are considering next season. I actually don't think it really shows anything in terms of next season. It's just a one-off game. Next season is played over 38 games. So if we beat Derry, and we can't say, oh, well, we don't need as much investment or we don't need to bring as many players in because we beat Derry in the cup. No, excuse me. The year we went up with Colin, we drew with St. Pat's and we took them to a penalty shootout. And you know what I mean? Pats went on and they won the cup. We could have beat them that night. And if we'd won that penalty shootout, that's exact same team got relegated last season, So I think it's just a moment in time. I think it's just one game that stands on its own. And conversely, if they beat us 4-0, I don't think that means we're automatically going to get relegated next season because we won't be competing with Pats next year. We won't be competing with Derry next year. We'll be competing with, I would imagine, Dundalk, Galway, Waterford would probably fall back next year. Definitely Sligo Rovers. That's kind of who we'd be aiming for. I think Derry, Shamrock Rovers, Shelburne, St. Pat's next year. I think they'll occupy almost a different league within the league, So I actually don't think it has any real bearing on what happens next season, to be honest with you. Last one, so before we finish up. Do season ticket holders get their money's worth? Where are the stated discount days? Little to no correspondence from the club via tickets, cup, and away matches in brackets, etc. Interesting one, Scott. Not something I really thought about. There's a follow-up question, or there's a follow-up to that from Richie. It says, I had to argue with them that I wasn't getting mails for away tickets. I've only ever gotten one mail for away tickets, and that was for the Cove game. After I complained about not getting mails, they basically said it was my own issue, not theirs.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to what I thought earlier, is that are we just kind of trotting along as a club now at this stage? Because, I don't have a season ticket this year. I didn't get one for the first time in a long time. Because I just knew that you just get fed up halfway through and you won't go to, you need to miss, 2 games? If you miss 2 games, you're kind of losing money then. So I just didn't get one. I don't know. I think we're just all in the first division. Just want to get out of it as quick as possible. Is there places we can improve on? Yes, but I don't see the club listen to anybody with complaints these days. So what's the point in even arguing with,
Yeah.
You know, people are afraid to challenge the club now on social media for fear of getting banned. So, you know,
I think
and there is no rule. They pick and choose who they want to ban. The same people, 4 people will make the same comment, and they'll ban 2 of them and leave the other 2. You know, so
let's not go down that road now again. I'll pull you back from that age now for the moment because we're talking about season tickets. You know, look, I don't know because, like you, I'm not a season ticket holder this year. I doubt, to be honest, that I'll be a season ticket holder again in the future. Do season ticket holders get their money's worth? I genuinely don't know. Like the discount days, if they haven't happened, then I think that's an issue that needs to be raised with the club, definitely. Little to no correspondence from the club via tickets. Like, I don't know if it states in the terms and conditions of season tickets whether you should get priority for away games and things like that. Obviously, they did for the Kerry away game, and they did for Cove that time. Richie says he had to argue with them about getting mails for away tickets. I genuinely don't know if a season ticket means the club is supposed to mail you with details of away ticket sales every time, etc. I have a feeling it probably doesn't. But Richie's convinced that they should, and you know, basically,
I'd agree with him. I think he should be emailing them of everything that comes out, everything that's in the season ticket. Like those discount days, they should be given notice, and they should be all over social media as well to entice people to buy season tickets.
Yeah, I'm getting from this that the discount days haven't happened. I haven't paid any attention, I have to say, so I can't say one way or the other. But look, yeah, it's an interesting one. If other people with season tickets have an opinion, they want to let us know, we'd be more than happy to continue that discussion and be fair as we can be to the club as well, you know. I think that's about the end of the mailbox, and if it's the end of the mailbox, Scott, it means it's the end of the pod. I guess there's not a whole lot left to say except adios and to wish the Toe Tappers well for the week. Is there a piece of music you want to play out with, Scott? Anything that?
Yeah, Back to the Future, Power Love. Great
Power
tune.
Love
Huey Lewis News. Huey Lewis News, wasn't it? Yeah.
Okay. And it is, of course, it is podcast relevant this week. So
it is.
Ticks that box.
It's been fairly positive. So maybe Dan might be the issue, Decky, do you know?
Yeah, he'll be back next week. I won't be here next week.
Won't you?
No, I won't. New chapter of Decky's life starts next Monday, so he's
Who are you going to get on? Just me and Dan?
No, I had a conversation with someone today. I haven't had a chance to tell you yet, but we're hoping to line up a big surprise for next week. A big surprise guest that all the
Is this a reliable surprise, Declan McCormack?
Sorry, say that
will
again?
Be calling you. Is this a reliable surprise?
It's an unreliable surprise.
Well, then that surprise is not happening because I'm not putting up with this shit on a Tuesday night, Monday night. All right? So you can call back that surprise and go, thanks, but no thanks. There's your PFO.
Don't say that. We'll see what happens.
Here, you have your phone turned on, ready to come onto this podcast. Is that a deal? So, all right.
Toe Tappers, we're hoping to have.
It could just be me. Dan might not show up. He might be still in County Clare getting all sorts happening to him. Might be just me.
He could be in County Clare sliding into the DMs of members of the women's side.
Absolutely. Do you know, fair play to him. Handsome man, handsome Dan.
Can't see anymore. He was chancing his arm. Probably full. That was late Sunday night as well. Like, oh my God, Dan. I hope it all went your way, kid. That's all I can say.
You should really ring him, make sure he's okay. Anyway.
Right.
If anyone sees Dan, send in photographs to us, will you?
Yeah, we're off to ring Dan and checking his well-being, and we'll catch up with you all next week, Toe Tappers. Until then, adios.